Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by. This time I'm coming at you to review a Blu-ray that came out last year of a movie that I hold in relatively high regard, especially for what it is, like a straight-to-video horror movie. Actually, this is my favorite of the non-theatrical Amityville movies, or my favorite Amityville movie after Amityville 3D, and I did a review of this movie years and years and years ago. If you wanted to see my review of the movie itself, this will just be a review of the Blu-ray that came out in 2022 from an outfit I've never bought a Blu-ray from before, Canadian International Pictures. But I'm coming at you to review the Canadian International Pictures Blu-ray release of the Amityville Curse. If you've seen my review of Amityville Curse, I'm pretty sure I mentioned in that review I've got the original North American VHS release from Vidmark Entertainment. That's the only way I've watched the film. I think I did stream a little bit of the HD version online before I got this Blu-ray, but even back before I ever seen any HD new transfers of this, even in my review that I reviewed basically by watching it from the Vidmark Entertainment VHS that I've got, I'm pretty sure in that movie review that you can go watch, I mentioned how much I loved how this movie looks, and I think that I may have even mentioned the grain. I'm pretty sure I mentioned how much I loved how it looked on that home video release. And when this title came out, like I say, it's 2023 now, it came out last year in 2022. It came out and I was like very excited, but it was like, I don't know, high, maybe like $27, $28. I wasn't really willing to pay that, and recently it went on sale for like somewhere around $20, and I said, we'll go for it. I like this movie enough, and I'm sure this Blu-ray is going to look absolutely amazing. So I went for it and got this Blu-ray release of the Amityville Curse from Canadian International Pictures. And I gotta say, man, if you're a fan of the Amityville Curse, this is the way to own the Amityville Curse. This movie, and it's funny how not only is it a very, very good looking movie for being like a straight to video B movie kind of thing, but another thing I like so much about it is like the acting, I think, is really good. The performers are all really good and really interesting. I just love what goes on. Very briefly, if I can talk about the movie very briefly, just the atmosphere of the movie and the characters and the plight of the characters. Something about it just interests me. And honestly, the whole Amityville aspect, I mean, admittedly, the Amityville, whatever you want to call it, evil spirits or the haunted aspect of this movie isn't really necessarily that great. Or, I mean, I'll admit that it's really, the supernatural aspect of this movie isn't really great. But what I love about it is just like the atmosphere and the characters, and I think it's incredibly well shot for being such a low budget movie, and this Blu-ray is just the best way to experience that. It is so good looking, and you know me, if you don't know me, I'm a grain guy. It's got just, droves and droves of natural, beautiful film grain. The colors are great. Contrast is great. I mean, just everything about this Blu-ray presentation of the Amityville Curse is really, really top notch. No complaints on the sound. Sounded absolutely fantastic. Obviously, this title is going to be just a 2-channel stereo audio track from the early 90s, but it definitely gets the job done. And it's just, I don't know what it is about the Amityville Curse. It's just, I've always, ever since I first, well, maybe not so much when I first saw it, but later on in years and stuff, maybe when I got closer to the age of the people, the characters in the movie, I started liking it more. But yeah, as an adult, I'm a really pretty big fan of the Amityville Curse, and like I said, it's more for just the atmosphere and the performers and the characters. I just think are interesting. And that main guy, the main guy who's like married to that main woman or whatever, like his character and the performer is just like really well done. And yeah, if you haven't seen this movie, I'm pretty sure it might be on TubiTV.com. Or maybe if not, it's on YouTube. But if you're a fan of, like, I don't know, creepy, just spooky atmosphere in movies, and you know, give it a shot, because it's this kind of turned into a half-assed movie review, I guess. But yeah, it's just give the movie a shot if you haven't seen it. You may like it. As we can see here, special features scanned in 2K from the original 35mm camera negative, audio commentary featuring these people, Amityville Memories from 2022, 16 minutes, an interview with, yeah, you can read all that. What else do we got? You can pause and read these special features if you want to see the special features. As we can see here, this is most likely the newly commissioned cover art for this release, which honestly I think looks pretty good. We've got a creepy face of a creepy character. If you know anything about this movie, we've got an eyeball, I'll simply say that. And honestly, I'm not exactly sure what this other face more in the background is, and those almost looks like crows or birds flying away. I'm not exactly sure what that stuff is. But then we've got the house there in the bottom, and it almost looks like this creepy hand thing reaching out of it. The font there, which is kind of Children of the Cornish, the Amityville Curse. Just the way the vines are coming up the curse just reminds me of Children of the Corn. Well, the Arrow Video Children of the Corn has the same kind of cover with the same kind of colors. But quite fortunately, as is the case with so many releases like this, you've got a reversible cover art option. You've got the option for this cover art or this cover, which is the one I'm going to go with because it's the original North American home video release cover. The artwork featured on the disc is kind of interesting, most likely newly commissioned artwork as well for the disc art. Kind of interesting that they have a whole specific separate drawing for the disc art. You got to give them credit for that. It could have been potential maybe cover art that was, you know, discarded, and they figured they could use it for the disc art. It's hard to know if it was created for the disc or alternate cover art. Who the hell knows? A booklet is included with this release. Like Father, Like Daughter, an interview with Alexandra Holzer. I guess that was the guy who wrote something. Also got a couple pages of like some comic book thingy. I don't really read much, so I didn't read this. And as it's getting darker and darker, I guess that pretty much does it for this review. If you're a fan of the Amityville Curse and you haven't picked this Blu-ray up, you definitely owe it to yourself to do so. Maybe do what I did and wait until it comes down in price. For me, it wasn't worth mid to high 20s. When it came down to closer to 20s, and I'm like, you know what? I like this movie enough to pay that for it, so I paid that for it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll catch you on the next video.